Hello, my name is Ashley Hanlon. I'm a business management major here at the University of Tampa, and I'm here to talk with you guys about what I found during my analysis of PromiseLand. Now, let's just start with a brief introduction. PromiseLand is part of the nonprofit Metropolitan Ministries. PromiseLand is currently operating in the child care sector. Unfortunately, access to this early child care isn't equal and has been especially hard on Tampa Bay families who are facing scarce and high-priced child service options in the area, which has led to Tampa's current child care crisis, making it a great geographical spot for PromiseLand. It's important for kids to start to have an education from an early age so that the child's brain can fully develop and prepare them for success in the future. PromiseLand has access to these Tampa families and will give kids the opportunities for enrichment they are currently lacking. So just a brief breakdown of the recommendations I'm going to cover for you today. First is a library partnership. Second is a partnership with the university. And last would be to boost overall social media presence. So starting with a library partnership. Public libraries have tons of resources. The most common are books, or most commonly known. That can include textbooks, cookbooks, storybooks, you name it. But there are more resources offered at the library. We have leisure activities from puzzles, games, DVDs, to learning materials for teachers or study materials for students. Another great feature of a library is that they have moved to using ILLs or interlibrary loans. So an interlibrary loan is if, let's say I'm a student and I wanted a book, so I would go to the library and I'd ask for a book that isn't currently at that public library, and they're able to scan all other public libraries in the country and able to send it right to that library for you, and you'll be able to pick it up. It's a great resource. Along with those great resources, public libraries have a long history of reaching out to community organizations to help at-risk kids, making them a perfect fit for PromiseLand, whose mission is to help the local at-risk families. Parents who homeschool have been able to find ways to cover their curriculum through public library resources. PromiseLand should work with the library to set up a curriculum calendar. So what do I mean by a curriculum calendar? The curriculum calendar should be worked out between PromiseLand and the library. So an example of this would be having 2 days in a month where a PromiseLand employee would go over to the library to pick up teaching, leisure material, anything you can think of that you will need for educational curriculum for the next 2 weeks. From there, you'll also be able to return any materials you've had the previous 2 weeks. Now, this 2-week part is just something I made up. Obviously, you'd have to reach out to the public library and see what works best with you guys. But this cycle will allow the library to be making a contribution to the at-risk families and help those kids learn, and would be saving PromiseLand the money it costs to not only purchase all these materials, but the cost that keeps these materials up to date. Another great way we can partner with a library would be hosting an event. Now, I just picked Hillsborough County Public Library, but there are several libraries in the area you can pick from. Now, this is just a mock flyer I made. So it says PromiseLand Family Event, 10 to 11 for PromiseLand families, to meet, sign up for free library cards, and check out the books, activities, and everything else the library has to offer. This is an integrational event that would help parents and kids to get a library card. The library card will grant them access to all those library resources we've talked about before. And this is beneficial for PromiseLand clients for several reasons. First, if a kid wants a book for leisure other than what's offered at the daycare, he can run down to his local public library and just pick it up for himself. Second, the library can be a lifelong resource for these PromiseLand families and can help PromiseLand parents who are also trying to further their education or trying to go back to school. So moving into our second recommendation, this would be a university partnership. Looking at the macro environment, Florida's student base is about 9% ELL students, or English Language Learner students, and this number is rising. Due to the increasing number of ELL students in Florida, the education degree requirements are expanding. College students going for education degrees are required to have hands-on hours with students currently enrolled in Florida, and the minimum hours can be increasing to counteract the rising number of ELL students. There are also specialized degrees that exist for ESOL teachers, which require more hands-on hours with students who are specifically English language learners. These education degree requirements require the universities granting the degree to make partnerships with local student programs. Luckily for PromiseLand, there are numerous universities in the Tampa Bay area. Hillsborough Community College, University of South Florida, and University of Tampa, just to name a few. For the purpose of this analysis, let's focus on the University of Tampa. Education is in the top 25 most popular majors at UT, at number 17. Also, due to the increasing number of ELL students, ELL teachers are in higher demand. To get an ELL endorsement requires more hours than the minimum for a basic education degree. These future ELL educators are a great market to be targeting when partnering with universities, and UT offers this ESOL accreditation or endorsement. UT is growing faster than administration can keep up with, and as previously discussed, education majors need these hands-on hours to get their degree. So with the increasing number of education students coming, they're going to need to make new partnerships with Tampa Learning Centers. PromiseLand would be able to help the college students fulfill their required hours while also getting qualified volunteers that can bypass volunteer screening. While I was conducting my research, I sat down for an informal interview with a recent UT education graduate. She agreed that the university needed more partners and had wished there was an option for her to be helping the community while completing her mandated hours. Unfortunately, there wasn't a choice for a nonprofit assignment. Overall, this partnership would be a win-win and could lead to PromiseLand making connections with the students and maybe even ending up with some volunteers who stay after their required hours are met. So the last recommendation I have for you guys would to be boost your social media presence. So why is this important? Simply put, social media is free marketing. And currently, only Metropolitan Ministries has a social media. On their social media, they categorize themselves on Facebook as a housing and homeless shelter nonprofit. This description omits PromiseLand and the daycare work done there altogether. This stops PromiseLand from reaching potential daycare clients, and it's important to have a social media platform to commemorate PromiseLand specifically. And here's why. It's a way to reach donors, volunteers, clients, and helps to allow donors and volunteers to see the difference they're making and feel interactive with the daycare specifically. So how would you do this? Well, first is to make PromiseLand its own social media on all platforms that Metropolitan Ministries already exists. Twitter, Instagram, and especially Facebook. 40% of social media donations for nonprofits are coming through Facebook. Also, Facebook has some excellent fundraising tools. They have the ability to make your own PromiseLand fundraising page, and you're also able to create a donate button right there on your platform, not just a link to your website with the donate button there. This new PromiseLand platform is perfect for promoting PromiseLand events and clarifying the daycare work done by Metropolitan Ministries through PromiseLand. I would highlight specifically the opening of the new PromiseLand building. Here to the side, I made an example of a post highlighting PromiseLand's opening. Now it just says, inspire and cultivate young minds, check out our opening, meet our donors, sponsors, volunteers, families. And something like this is just to get, people interested. Maybe people have volunteered with Metropolitan Ministries before, but wasn't really sure that PromiseLand was attached to it or really what they're doing. So we're just giving it its own platform, and especially for clarity on those Facebook as well, to put it in its own group, so it'll be in its own category. Thank you so much for your time. Due to some extenuating circumstances, I wasn't able to be with you in person today, but I'd love to answer any questions you might have. I've included my email, my LinkedIn, and my mobile number, so please feel free to contact me at any time. Thanks again.